I got into the film industry because I made small talk with a customer while working at my neighborhood grocery store. I had made small talk with thousands of customers before, and I had no logical reason to believe that this conversation would produce any different results, let alone that this conversation would hold the potential to change the course of my life.
One day, Lego!
I was 19 at the time. I was going to college for a finance business degree, all while I was living at home and working at a local grocery store called Trader Joe's. It was a Saturday morning like any other, and I was working the cash register. A gentleman came through my line with the NCIS Los Angeles shirt on. Per usual, I made small talk with him, just like I had with the girl before him and just like I planned to do with the couple behind him. I made a joke in reference to his shirt, asking if he was obsessed with the show or something. He kindly joked back, explaining that he actually worked on the show and had for the past 4 years. I was expecting many responses, but his was not one of them. This customer's name was Trevor, and Trevor was the first person I met who had successfully built a career in the film industry without the use of nepotism. It turned out that he came to Trader Joe's every Saturday morning to pick up food for his elderly mom. We slowly bonded over our love of small town San Dimas and our love of Los Angeles and the adventures it holds. About 8 months after meeting Trevor, he asked if I wanted to go on a tour of a set at Paramount Studios. I jumped at the opportunity. Even though I'd grown up in Los Angeles, I'd never been on a film set, or let alone a film lot, not even mentioning the historical prevalence of a lot such as Paramount Pictures. When I stepped on the Paramount lot, I was exposed to a world that I had never seen. A world that was, yes, only 40 miles away from where my mother gave birth to me, but it could have been as distant as Boston to Los Angeles. Hollywood had been in my backyard this whole time. I just never thought about looking for it. I remember walking on his set, and underneath the stage, he showed me the backlot, and we climbed through the fake buildings. In one afternoon, the world of filmmaking didn't seem like a foreign land like it once did. Here was this guy who grew up in the same community I did, who frequented the same spots I did, who also had no connections in the film industry when he was starting out. For the first time in my life, I thought maybe I could have a career in the film industry, a wild idea that I never even let run through my mind. Maybe I didn't need this finance degree. Maybe I could mess with cameras for a paycheck. Maybe I could make movies for a living. I would like to say that this trip to Paramount immediately changed my life, that the next day I woke up filled with ambition and a direct goal like never before, that I pushed and pushed until a door in Hollywood opened before my eyes and I stepped in to claim my prize of a career, that once I stepped onto the Paramount lot, I became modern-day Steven Spielberg, that I set up shop and never left. But that didn't happen. To this day, I have not worked with Trevor. He never got me a job or even an internship. But what he did was he planted a seed in the 19-year-old version of myself. He showed me a lifestyle, a career choice that could be mine if I was willing to put in the time, if I was willing to work for it. A day after exploring Paramount, I was back at Trader Joe's stocking shelves. A week later, I was sitting in another class that I didn't want to be in. Hollywood was as distant a thought as it had ever been. It wasn't until I hit rock bottom, more than a year after first meeting Trevor, that my life started to change. I was reviewing my college transcript when I was supposed to be listening to the lecture while sitting in class. What that transcript told me was that I had passed the halfway point in college. I required less credits to graduate than I did to start again. I, for the first time, had more than a realization. I had a scary eye-opener, an awareness of my reality, that I was going to be living a very traditional lifestyle, a limited life, a life that would carry no change unless I enacted it, a life where I'd spend my time at work dreaming of going home and my time at home dreading going to work. The majority of my education was now behind me. I wasn't a kid anymore. I had control over my life and I wasn't going in the right direction, probably due to my lack of direction. After getting out of that class, I drove home and interviewed myself in front of a camera for the first time. I don't remember much of the interview, but I do remember that the camera battery died before I could finish expressing my thoughts. Looking back, I realized that was a pivotal moment in my life, not because of the camera, but because for the first time in my life, I had voiced my fears. I had given my deepest thoughts oxygen. It wasn't until I vocalized my fears, that I was able to recognize them and thus do something about them. It was at that point that I started to make radical decisions out of a sense of hopelessness, sort of a desperation to change my life. Decisions that, looking back on, I do not know how I tricked myself into believing that they had the chance of working. But they did. Last year, for the first time in my life, 100% of my income came from the film industry, from working on TV shows, commercials, and movies. I got to work on the Warner Brothers lot. I got to work at Paramount Pictures. I got to work up in Big Sur. I even got to work out in Ontario, past where I grew up. I had to drive through my hometown to get to work. That was an experience. It took me 4 years to get here, from the first day of meeting Trevor while working at a grocery store, to sitting in front of this camera in the college that I dropped out of. It was not easy. It was not short. There were many nights filled with self-doubt, feeling lost after I dropped out of college and quit Trader Joe's, scared that I might have permanently messed up my life. How I went from visiting my friend Trevor on the Paramount lot to working on the Paramount lot is a story for another time. And for that, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, warm up. La, 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 la. Hey, yeah, Vietnam, now I am. Hey, and they asking, I tell them, Mr. Vietnam, hey, wear your glasses.
Okay, so today, I think I should start off with the date. Today is, man, I can't even look at the camera, there's no one behind him. Like, I'm too embarrassed. I can't look at that tiny Canon lens, it's just so cheap. Today is August. Go away, Sinbad, Pete Holmes podcast. Today is August 6th, Wednesday, August 6th, 2014. And I just want to make a little video, just kind of like spilling my thoughts.